4. Yao passing the throne to Shun. After the era of the Yellow Emperor, 3 famous tribal leaders emerged: Yao, Shun, and Yu. Each of them originally led their own tribe before being elected as the head of the tribal alliance. At that time, a tribal leader did not rule alone. Any major decision required consultation with the chiefs of the other tribes. Yao's search for a successor. As Yao grew older, he began searching for a worthy successor. He convened a meeting of tribal leaders from all directions to discuss the matter. After Yao explained his intention, a chief named Fang Qi suggested, "Your son, Dan Zhu, is an intelligent and open-minded person. He would be a suitable successor." But Yao firmly rejected the idea. "No, that boy lacks virtue. He is always arguing with others," he said. Then another leader, Huan Do, proposed. "Gong Gong, who manages waterworks, does his job quite well. He could be a good choice." But Yao shook his head again. "Gong Gong is eloquent and appears respectful, but his heart is not sincere. I cannot trust someone like that." Since no agreement was reached, Yao continued searching for a suitable successor. Later, he gathered the tribal leaders again and asked them for recommendations. This time, they unanimously suggested Shun. Yao nodded thoughtfully. "Ah, I have heard good things about him. Can you tell me more about his deeds?" The leaders then shared Shun's story. Shun's father was a completely foolish and blind old man, called Ji Su, which means blind old man. His biological mother had passed away early, and his stepmother was cruel and unkind. Shun's younger half-brother, Xiong, was incredibly arrogant and spoiled, yet Ji Su favored him above all else. Despite growing up in such a difficult family, Shun remained kind and respectful toward his parents and younger brother. Because of his exceptional virtue, many people admired him. Yao was very pleased upon hearing this and decided to put Shun to the test before making his final decision. The trials of Shun. To observe Shun's character, Yao married his 2 daughters, Yi Huang and Enyu Ying, to him. He also gave Shun a granary and livestock. When Shun's stepmother and younger brother saw his new wealth and status, they were consumed with jealousy and resentment. Together with Ji Su, they devised multiple schemes to kill Shun. One day, Ji Su instructed Shun to repair the roof of the granary. As Shun climbed up the ladder, Ji Su set fire to the building, hoping to burn him alive. When Shun noticed the fire spreading, he searched for the ladder, only to find it had been removed. Fortunately, Shun always carried 2 straw hats for sun protection. Holding them in his hands like wings, he leaped from the roof. The wind carried the hats, allowing him to glide safely to the ground, completely unharmed. But his father and brother were not ready to give up. Another time, Ji Su and Xiong ordered Shun to clean out a deep well. As soon as Shun descended, they threw rocks and soil into the well, burying the opening to trap him inside. However, Shun had noticed their trick and had already dug a side tunnel for escape. He crawled out through the passage and safely returned home. Meanwhile, Xiong was certain that his brother was dead. Overjoyed, he rushed home and bragged to Ji Su. "This time, my plan was perfect. My brother is definitely dead. Now we can divide up his wealth." With excitement, Xiong walked toward Shun's house to claim his possessions, only to find Shun sitting on the bed, calmly playing the qin, a traditional Chinese musical instrument. Xiong was stunned and embarrassed. Trying to cover up his intentions, he quickly said, "Oh, brother. I was just thinking about you. I missed you so much." Shun, as always, remained composed and acted as if nothing had happened. "Ah, you came at the perfect time. I could use your help with my work," he replied. From then on, despite knowing their intentions, Shun continued to treat his father and brother with patience and kindness. Ji Su and Xiong, seeing that their schemes had failed, eventually stopped trying to harm him. The inheritance of the throne. After hearing about Shun's trials and testing him further, Yao became convinced that Shun was indeed a virtuous and capable leader. He decided to pass the leadership of the tribal alliance to him. This act of voluntarily giving up power is known in history as Shan Rang, meaning abdication by merit. In reality, during the clan commune period, it was common for aging tribal leaders to step down and allow a new leader to be elected. It was not unusual for leadership to be determined by capability rather than hereditary succession. After taking over Yao's position, Shun continued to be diligent, humble, and hardworking. He lived simply, worked alongside the people, and earned their trust. A few years later, Yao passed away. Even then, Shun still wanted to return the leadership to Yao's son, Danzhu, but the people rejected the idea. Seeing the will of the people, Shun formally accepted his role as the leader of the tribal alliance. 5. Great Yu controls the floods. During the reign of Emperor Yao, the Yellow River Basin suffered devastating floods. Farmlands were submerged, houses were destroyed, and people had no choice but to flee to higher ground. To make matters worse, venomous snakes and fierce beasts roamed the flood-stricken areas, threatening both humans and livestock, making life unbearable. To address this crisis, Yao convened a meeting of tribal leaders to discuss flood control strategies. He sought recommendations on who should be assigned the task. The chiefs unanimously recommended Gun, GN. However, Yao had doubts about Gun's abilities. The tribal leaders insisted, "Right now, there is no one better suited for the task than Gun. Please give him a chance." Reluctantly, Yao agreed. Gun's failure in flood control. Gun dedicated 9 years to controlling the floods, but he failed to resolve the disaster. His approach relied solely on building dikes and dams to block the floodwaters. However, the water pressure eventually caused the dams to collapse, worsening the situation. Instead of solving the problem, the flooding intensified. When Emperor Shun succeeded Yao as the leader of the tribal alliance, he personally inspected the flood-affected regions. After realizing that Gun's methods were ineffective, Shun ordered Gun to be executed. He then appointed Gun's son, Yu, to take over the flood control efforts. Yu's innovative approach to flood control. Yu abandoned his father's approach and instead focused on digging channels and dredging riverways to guide the floodwaters into the sea. He worked tirelessly alongside the people, wearing a simple straw hat, wielding a shovel, and personally leading the efforts. He labored so intensely that the hair on his calves was completely worn away. For 13 years, Yu traveled across the land, overseeing the flood control efforts. Eventually, he successfully diverted the floodwaters into the ocean, reclaiming vast areas of land for farming. Yu's sacrifices and dedication. Yu was so committed to his mission that he made great personal sacrifices. Shortly after getting married, he left to manage the flood crisis. He passed by his home 3 times but never entered. One time, as he passed his house, his wife, Tushansha, had just given birth to their son, Qi. Yu could hear the baby crying from inside. Despite his longing to see his child, he hardened his heart and did not stop to visit. His devotion to the people took precedence over his personal desires. The opening of Longmen Gorge. One of the most challenging obstacles Yu encountered was Longmen Mountain, located in the middle reaches of the Yellow River, present-day Hejin, Shaanxi Province. The mountain blocked the river's flow, forcing the water into a narrow passage, which frequently led to catastrophic flooding. After carefully studying the terrain, Yu led his workers in cutting through the mountain to create a wide channel. Once the rock barrier was breached, the floodwaters surged through the gap and continued eastward without obstruction. This marked a significant breakthrough in flood control. Yu's legacy and the shift to hereditary rule. Yu's successful flood control efforts earned him immense respect. The people revered him for his accomplishments and honored him with the title Great Yu, Dau. As Emperor Shun aged, he followed Yao's tradition and sought a worthy successor. Due to his outstanding contributions, Yu was the unanimous choice. When Shun passed away, Yu officially became the new leader of the tribal alliance. By this time, the clan-based communal society was beginning to dissolve. Agricultural productivity had improved, leading to surplus goods. The tribal chiefs started accumulating these surpluses as personal wealth, transforming themselves into an emerging aristocracy. Conflicts between tribes increased, and captured enemies were no longer executed but enslaved to serve the ruling class. This gradual division of society into slaves and slave owners marked the decline of the primitive tribal system. Yu's transformation from tribal leader to monarch. Yu's achievements not only cemented his leadership but also expanded his authority. According to legend, in his later years, he traveled to the eastern regions and convened a grand assembly of tribal leaders at Mount Huiji, modern-day Shaanxi, Zhejiang province. The attendees brought jade and silk as tribute, and the ceremony was highly formalized, signifying Yu's increasing prestige. However, when a chieftain named Fang Feng arrived late to the gathering, Yu viewed it as disrespectful and ordered him to be executed. This event demonstrated that Yu was no longer merely a tribal leader but had evolved into a true monarch, wielding the power to enforce his authority. The end of the abdication system and the birth of the Xia dynasty. During his rule, Yu was assisted by a minister named Jiao Yao, who helped him govern. After Jiao Yao's death, his son, Hou Yi, took on an advisory role. Under the traditional abdication system, Shan Rang, Hou Yi should have succeeded Yu as leader. However, after Yu's death, the nobles of the Xia tribe disregarded the election system and instead supported Yu's son, Qi, as his successor. This marked a turning point in Chinese history. The tribal election system was abolished, and the hereditary monarchy was established. Thus, the first slave-based dynasty, the Xia dynasty, was born. 6. Hou Yi, the divine archer. After Qi, the founder of the Xia dynasty, ascended the throne, a tribe called Youhu, who refused to submit and revolted. Qi waged war against them and ultimately defeated them. The captured rebels were forced into slavery as herdsmen. Seeing the fate of Youhu, the other tribes dared not challenge Xia's rule. When Qi passed away, his son Tai Kang succeeded him. However, Tai Kang was an incompetent and self-indulgent ruler. He neglected state affairs and spent all his time hunting. One day, he led his hunting party to the southern banks of the Luo River, becoming so engrossed in the hunt that he remained away for 100 days without returning. At that time, the Yi people, a tribe living in the lower reaches of the Yellow River, had a powerful leader named Hou Yi. Ambitious and cunning, Hou Yi sought to seize power from the Xia king. When he heard that Tai Kang was still away hunting, he saw an opportunity. Hou Yi personally led an army to block the northern bank of the Luo River, cutting off Tai Kang's return path. When Tai Kang, excited from his successful hunt, reached the river's edge, he found his way home blocked by Hou Yi's forces. With no way to return, he was forced into exile on the southern side of the river. Although Hou Yi did not immediately declare himself king, he deposed Tai Kang and installed Tai Kang's younger brother, Zhong Kang, as a puppet ruler while keeping real power in his own hands. Hou Yi, the legendary archer. Hou Yi was renowned for his unmatched archery skills. A famous legend describes a time when there were 10 suns in the sky, scorching the earth and devastating crops. The people suffered from extreme drought and sought Hou Yi's help. Hou Yi drew his mighty bow and, with 9 swift arrows, shot down 9 of the 10 suns, leaving only 1 to light the sky. As a result, the climate returned to normal, and drought ceased. Another legend tells of monstrous beasts that terrorized the great rivers, stirring up storms and flooding villages. These creatures drowned people and destroyed farmlands. Hou Yi, with his unparalleled skill, hunted down and killed the beasts with his arrows, restoring peace to the land. These myths reflect the extraordinary reputation Hou Yi had for his archery prowess. Hou Yi seizes the Xia throne. At first, Hou Yi served as Zhong Kang's assistant. However, after Zhong Kang died, Hou Yi forced his son, Xiong, into exile and usurped the throne for himself. Now ruling over Xia, Hou Yi became tyrannical and corrupt. Like Tai Kang before him, he indulged in hunting and abandoned governance. He handed control of state affairs to his trusted minister, Han Zhuo. Han Zhuo, however, was not a loyal subordinate. He secretly plotted against Hou Yi, gradually gaining influence and winning over the people. One day, when Hou Yi returned from hunting, Han Zhuo's men ambushed and assassinated him, seizing power for themselves. The survival of Shao Kang. After killing Hou Yi, Han Zhuo took the Xia throne. To secure his rule, he sought to eliminate any remaining members of the Xia royal family, particularly Xiong, the rightful heir. Xiong fled, but Han Zhuo relentlessly pursued him. Eventually, Xiong was captured and executed. However, his wife, who was pregnant at the time, managed to escape through a hole in a wall and fled to her homeland, the Yu Ren tribe. There, she gave birth to Shao Kang. Shao Kang's struggle and the Xia restoration. Shao Kang grew up in difficult circumstances, initially working as a herdsman for his maternal family. However, when Han Zhuo's forces began searching for him, he fled to the Yao clan, the descendants of Emperor Shun. Through perseverance and intelligence, Shao Kang gathered loyal followers and built an army. Many former Xia officials and tribes who remained loyal to the Xia dynasty also joined him. With their support, he launched a counterattack against Han Zhuo and successfully reclaimed the Xia throne. This event, marking the revival of the Xia dynasty, is historically known as Shao Kang Zhongxing, the restoration of Shao Kang. The continued struggle with the Yi tribes. Although Shao Kang had reclaimed his kingdom, the conflict between the Yi tribes and Xia was far from over. The Yi people were known for their skilled archers, and their powerful bows made them formidable warriors. However, Shao Kang's son, Di Shu, invented a new type of armor, known as jiao, which could withstand their arrows. Equipped with this new protective gear, Xia's forces defeated the Yi tribes, expanding their territory further eastward. Thus, under Shao Kang and his descendants, the Xia dynasty was restored to power, solidifying its place as the first dynasty in Chinese history.